I'm with the Wonder Wife, the great, beautiful Junia. We just watched the teaser for 2025's Wolfman, not the Wolfman. It's Wolfman with wolf and man being spaced out. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it looks creepy, for sure. I don't know. I know that, like, the Universal, and I know it's not technically saying it's a Universal monster, but if it's based off of the Wolfman, it is. I don't know. Like, I have a different concept, I think, about the Universal monster-esque movies than other people do. And in my opinion, it shouldn't be something that's, like, super horrific and gory, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that whole teaser there kind of gave me the vibe that it's going to be something that's, you know, like almost like a slasher film, but with a wolfman, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
That's the vibe I got.
So the actor who's playing, I'll call him Larry for now. They haven't said his name is Larry. What it better frickin' be?
Mm-hmm.
It would be interesting if they do the same kind of. Looks like they're moving to Oregon. Something happens. It looks kind of small in scale, you know. The family dynamic would be interesting, you know. But once again, this kind of, it reminds me, in the idea, okay, because I see people like, oh, it's the new remake of the Wolfman. It's not a remake. Straight up from the teaser, it's not a remake.
Right.
It's a reinterpretation, re-envisioning, update, whatever, new way of looking at the property.
Right.
The teaser trailer looks intense, but what's going to separate it from me? Like, there's certain elements that you need for the Wolfman to where it's not just a werewolf movie. Like, there's a certain look to the creature. There's a certain, like, tropes. Like, you have to have the gypsies. You have to have that lore. You have, like, you know, the story of Larry is a good man who gets cursed, who's tortured by this curse.
Right.
You know, and if there's the line in the trailer I liked about the dad protecting, and it looks like somebody breaks in or something. So, could be something like that happens, that he defends and gets bit, and he starts having problems.
Yeah, but, I mean, I don't know. Are they just using the name to use the name, or are they using the name as, like, to connect the dots to the actual Wolfman story?
Right. Like, yeah, what is the premise? And I think, based on people's reactions a lot online, like, I've seen some positive, some kind of negative, and then the reveal of I'm going to call it a creature at the Universal Horror Nights that's saying it's from the Wolfman. If that's the actual Wolfman design, they've completely ruined this, and this movie's going to tank. Now, if that's the design of something that breaks in and bites our protagonist, that turns him into the Wolfman, maybe it'll go down. Okay. You know?
I don't know, like, from what I saw right there in the trailer, we got, like, a very, very short flash of what the Wolfman looked like. Very, very short. It looked similar to what you were talking about.
We're gonna see. You know,
I don't know. I get tired of making things trendy.
Yeah.
And I worry that this film is gonna fall into that. And trendy, you know, right now when it comes to stuff like this, looks like that gory slasher-esque film. You know, I understand that it's gonna be it's meant to be intense, but
I want a, like, horror thriller.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Like, I don't
more
mind
action packed.
I don't mind
thriller.
I don't mind some blood, but I don't.
Right.
Like we talked about before, like, there's a lot that I love in the Benicio del Toro Wolfman.
Yeah.
But the gore was a little too much.
It was.
In that movie, and felt very out of characteristic for the director. And that's always been a stipulation. Some story details I would have changed, but I think one of the biggest takeaways for me was the gore. I love his look in that movie more. So I'm nervous, scared, apprehensive, because I have a complete love and soft spot for the Wolfman.
Yeah.
There's a difference, like I say, all the time, there's a difference between a wolfman story and a werewolf story. They're not interchangeable. Van Helsing, I'm looking at you, film. But I don't know. I'm nervous.
Yeah. Me too.
So, I mean, I like the director. You know, he did a great job with The Invisible Man.
Yeah.
That was a different way of approaching The Invisible Man from a very personal, traumatic experience. And I think that worked in that context. But I don't want the exact same approach applied to the Wolfman. Like, so.
We'll have to see.
I know, I'm so worried.
It'll be all right.
It's not that hard to make. Like,
a lot of times with movies and stories like this, they want to use the title in order to allure people into watching or participating in, you know, the film. So because it says Wolfman on it, it could be something that's just nice and shiny for everybody to feel attracted to, you know? But that's my fear is, you know, are they using it as a lure?
I mean, it is part of where Blumhouse with Universal Pictures is trying to bring back and re-update the Universal classic movies. And I'm like, okay, but there's a reason why those movies still are loved today. I mean, you done shot yourself in the foot making that Tom Cruise Mummy movie that didn't launch your dark universe. You tried to do something with Dracula Untold, but you really didn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
That could have been your launch of your universe. My personal headcanon is Dracula Untold and Tom Cruise's The Mummy are in the same universe. There's no proof, but that's my personal headcanon because both of them were supposed to kind of start a shared universe that they kind of didn't do.
Weird.
So, yeah.
Well, then if they're going to end up doing something like that, then it better be good.
Well, I mean, they haven't talked about doing a new shared universe. They're just doing it one film at a time. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's look at the fact that Universal gave us Last Voyage of the Demeter, which was garbage. It gave us Renfield, which could have been very good, but once again, it went overly gory, bloody for humorous sake, and then dang teeth of Nick Cage.
Yeah, those teeth. Why do we go overboard with that crap? We don't. It doesn't have to be overboard.
Exactly.
There are movies that are out there for those people who are in search for that or who are, desire that to be in their film, but we don't need to do that here in the Universal movies or in the Universal spin-offs.
And then Abigail was originally supposed to be called Dracula's daughter, and they changed it to Abigail, and they even kind of allude to that her father might be Dracula. And I'm just kind of like, these are classic monsters for a reason. And you can do this. It's not that difficult to update them and to do a modern version of the story and not make it a gore fest or just make it, I don't know.
There's nothing classy in gore.
Yeah.
There's nothing that adds to the story with that overwhelming amount of gore that can be in films.
Unless,
once again, not opposed to a little bit of blood. With Dracula, necessary. With Wolfman, yeah, sure. But, is it really necessary for it to be ridiculous?
You know, what you just said about the gore thing, I think it works. It's needed in something like, for example, the opening scene of Saving Private Ryan. Because it highlights the intensity of war and just the horrors of what that experience was.
Right.
And that's something that in that movie, I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes complete sense. Like, right. I'm behind that.
But when it's like, when we have the classic monsters like this, and we just like do an overwhelming amount of it in every scene or every other scene, like why?
Yeah, there is a reason the movies hold up, but they're also the classics. All stem from literature. You know, the Wolfman's the only one that's not like really. The Wolfman and the creature from the Black Lagoon are like the only ones that don't really stem from a direct literary story, but more folklore.
Mm-hmm.
And all the rest of them are from literature.
Yeah.
So there's a higher caliber of storytelling there.
Right.
But we'll keep up to date. That's just me and Junia kind of first reactions here as we got the poster. Oh yeah, the poster too sucked. It was just like a little girl like half covering her face with her fingers.
I saw.
Yeah, but they make kind of a W shape. And I was like,
why?
All right, well, that's... I think this movie retroactively is going to make people re-love the Benicio del Toro movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, because I've already seen the chatter online. So... And if you want to hear more about my love for the Wolfman and conversation, I'm going to put the link to the episode of The Gravely Amusing where Brian and I talk all about the Wolfman.